Estamos terminando el Mexican Telecom Forum que se celebra en la ciudad de México, en México, y nos visita Steve de la empresa Oracle, con la que vamos a estar hablando de lo que han estado demostrando y mostrando aquí en este congreso. Lo vamos a hacer en inglés porque Steve es norteamericano, así que vamos a cambiar a ese idioma. Steve, welcome to telesemana.com.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So, well, first of all, you have a booth here with different demos. So tell us what you were trying to show to the operators in this market and why.
Well, we did a couple of different things. We're basically focused on two different presentations that I gave earlier today. We gave a presentation about what we call the now economy.
Okay.
The now economy is really talking about those businesses that are disrupting the industry. Companies like Uber, Airbnb, and those kinds of companies. And trying to talk about how telecommunications companies can evolve to become these now economy companies. Really recognizing the value of combining communications and computing together and delivering that in a cloud-based methodology to take advantage of web scale, pay-as-you-go services, and things like that. So
are we talking about virtualization, or is more than just virtualizing?
Virtualization is sort of like an early step in this, but this actually goes beyond that. It incorporates things like virtualization, network function virtualization, but probably the most important aspect of it is really microservices. Making these into small, definable components or units that really interact with each other that can be very easily scaled and deployed in a cloud-based environment, whether it be public cloud or private cloud or both.
Okay. Now, obviously, what you're mentioning is not science fiction, but obviously the operators at the early stages here in Latin America. What are the differences that you're finding between what perhaps AT&T is doing in the US, which they are actually saying that they want to move very quickly to NFV and SDN, versus what you may find here, where you may find a lot of legacy systems, and perhaps the operators are still not that, they don't have the urgency, perhaps, to move as fast as other operators in other more mature markets. So what is your view on that?
Well, yeah, we have heard, for instance, there's a lot of resistance somewhat even to moving to the cloud in South America and Mexico. But we are seeing, we did a survey recently this year actually, where we indicated that almost 2/3 of those vendors that we talked to 100 different communication service providers.
Around the world?
Around the world. And about 2/3 of them indicate that they're actively in the process of developing plans to go deploy to the public cloud.
Okay.
So it was quite impressive to us.
Okay, one of the things that you mentioned before we started recording is that you are also showing Wi-Fi calling at your booth. Tell me, why is this service important for the operators?
Wi-Fi calling is a great opportunity for carriers to take advantage of Wi-Fi, which is at a very low cost, to really improve the customer satisfaction for their customers by providing better indoor coverage, and at the same time delivering that better indoor coverage without having to overburden their capital expenses. They can leverage the access points that are already existing in people's homes or businesses, and then leverage the unlicensed spectrum of Wi-Fi to deliver that capability. So they don't have to go out and build new cell towers at $150,000 each. They don't have to go out and buy additional spectrum. It's a great way for them to address that. The interesting part of that's sort of the mobile network aspect of it. Flipping it around and thinking about cable operators, Wi-Fi calling is also a play for them, but they don't have a mobile network. They're not really interested in expanding or improving indoor coverage. They're interested in basically looking at Wi-Fi calling as a way that they can participate in mobile. A lot of them are now looking at becoming an MVNO, leveraging a mobile network operator and offering mobile. The problem with that is the economics don't work real well.
Okay.
It's a very thin margins. But you add Wi-Fi calling to the picture and recognize that up to 80% of the calls really occur indoors or probably within the area they can attach to Wi-Fi. If they can displace those calls from being carried on the mobile network that's hosting their MVNO, so therefore they don't have to pay for it,
it's cheaper.
It very much improves their margin dramatically. And there has been a study by a Besen group that basically indicated the EBITDA, that's earning before interest to taxes, to depreciation and amortization, that it goes from a 6% EBITDA when you don't use Wi-Fi calling to something like close to 60 EBITDA if you do use Wi-Fi calling, and you're able to get 80% attachment. So it's a very impressive story.
Now, for mobile operators, because obviously we are mentioning, and I'm just concentrating on mobile operators, not cable or MVNOs, they have an incentive because they're going to be able to expand their infrastructure much cheaper. Is there any way they can also monetize those services, given the fact that voice prices are going down and that Wi-Fi is perceived as a free service by the user? So are we talking about just savings or also new revenue opportunities?
Well, in the case of Wi-Fi calling, it's largely about improving customer satisfaction, which decreases churn. That's really sort of the story.
Okay.
Yes, they can certainly monetize it. They could charge exactly the same they're charging for normal phone calls over the mobile network,
but
and some do.
Okay.
Some do, but their costs are declined. So it really depends on the business model, where the operator feels that they can best take advantage of Wi-Fi calling. Is it to improve customer satisfaction solely, improve churn, or do they recognize the way you can deliver the same service delivered on a mobile network at a much lower cost? So it's really an operator preference.
Okay. Now, when you mention Wi-Fi calling, what are we referring to? Because when we hear Wi-Fi calling, we always think about IMS,
Sure.
and then next to it, VoLTE.
Yep.
Is Oracle just offering Wi-Fi calling, IMS, then VoLTE? How is the equation working?
Sure. Well, one of our Wi-Fi calling, one of the components of Wi-Fi calling offering is the EPDG, Evolved Packet Data Gateway.
And that's
one of our products that we provide. That really sets up the secure IPsec tunnel from the mobile core all the way out to the end device. We then terminate that into a packet gateway. The packet gateway then carries the traffic into the IMS core. And we provide many of the components for the IMS core, things like the access SBC functionality, targeting, serving CSCF functions, the VoLTE TAS services, as well as diameter signaling routing and various other components that you need to make an IMS system work.
okay. Are you offering that in a virtualized manner, or at this point is it still just the regular IMS, old-fashioned hardware-based
Well, our IMS
infrastructure?
components, the targeting service CSCF functions are available in a virtualized function capability. So they're totally virtualized, available in COTS hardware. The VoLTE telecommunication application server is available in again, on a fully virtualized, available in COTS hardware as well. The mobile security gateway, which provides the EPDG functionality, that currently is available as an appliance.
Okay.
And the reason for that is very specific. We can do it virtualized. However, the amount of COTS equipment required to deliver the number of IPsec tunnels, to do the high-speed encryption and decryption, to do that at scale, it cannot be done cost-effectively without using lots of COTS equipment. So if you buy an appliance, it's going to be less expensive than, for instance, buying all the COTS equipment to do it. Now, we think that's going to change. We think, and we're working with our ecosystem partner like Intel, and use their data plane software to basically take advantage of their advances. We expect that maybe 3-5 years out, we fully expect to be able to have fully virtualized capability at scale on COTS equipment in the near future.
Okay, so you mentioned cloud, you mentioned Wi-Fi calling. Any other demos that you were showcasing at your stand?
We didn't have any other demos here, but one thing that's really, people do come up to the booth and they talk to us about, they say, first of all, Oracle. We understand Oracle is a database company, but I see Oracle Communications. What's that all about? So I usually have to explain to them a little bit about that. And Oracle Communications is an independent business unit, or industry business unit, I should say. And there's multiples of those within Oracle. We have things like in healthcare, finance, hospitality that deal with hotels, and communications is one of those business units. And we're the business unit that acquired TechElect to provide the core network signaling, SS7 signaling for STPs, the diameter signaling routing capability. We acquired Acme Packet, which provides the session border controller functionality and also some of the core session management that I mentioned previously for IMS. And then previous to that, we had already in our portfolio a number of application servers, API exposure, OSS, BSS components. So now the collection of these different components provide a complete set of software components and hardware components available for the communication service providers and also for the enterprise communications as well.
So you think, as I was listening to you, it felt like perhaps you still need to do some education on the carrier side.
Yeah.
But actually you acquire, the companies you mentioned, Acme Packet and TechElect, they were very into the operators and they were very well known in Latin America. So it's kind of strange that, the operators are not able to make the connection, or they, for whatever reason, they didn't know that, Acme Packet suddenly disappeared and now it's with Oracle.
It's certainly gotten better over the last couple of years, but still we do get people come up with really immediately think of Oracle and associate with a database and trying to understand why are you at a communication show.
Okay.
So quite often that's a question I have to deal with right off the bat is trying to, why are we here? And then I explain to them, and then they, now I understand why you're here.
Yeah, actually you have a lot of components that are critical for the evolution of the network. So that's interesting. All right, well, Steve, thank you so much for being here today. Sorry for the change in the scheduling.
No worries.
But I appreciate your patience.
Well, thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.